Good morning. As noted, I am Bryant Brown. It is great to be with you. I come to you a bit sleep deprived. Yesterday began at about 2 in the morning with a bus ride from Allentown to Washington to be with tens of thousands of our fellow human beings who wanted to remember and celebrate and be rededicated by the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington. And it didn't get home until late last night. That was the joy yesterday. The joy today is being with you and sharing this service. I bring to you these words from Stephen Hawking. He writes in A Brief History of Time, "The laws of science as we know them at present contain many fundamental numbers, like the size of the electric charge of the electron and the ratio of the masses of the proton and the electron. The remarkable fact is that the values of these numbers seem to have been very finely adjusted to make possible the development of life. For example, if the rate of expansion 1 second after the Big Bang had been smaller by even 1 part in 100,000 million, the universe would have recollapsed before it ever reached its present size." And Stephen Hawking writes that if the electric charge of the electron had been only slightly different, stars either would have been unable to burn hydrogen and helium, or else they would not have exploded. Of course, there might be other forms of intelligent life not dreamed of, even by the writers of science fiction, that did not require the light of a star like the sun, or the heavier chemical elements that are made from stars and are flung back into space when stars explode. Nevertheless, it seems clear that there are relatively few ranges of values for the numbers that would allow the development of any form of intelligent life. Most sets of values would give rise to universes that, although they might be beautiful, would contain no one able to wonder at the beauty. Oh, mercy rest, thank you. That was wonderful. First, I share with you these words from St. Augustine. "People go abroad to wonder at the heights of mountains, at the huge waves of the sea, at the long courses of the rivers, at the vast compass of the ocean, at the circular motions of the stars, and they pass by themselves without wondering." Some of our churches auction sermon topics. Once, the high bidder for one of mine chose from anything he wanted. He chose the topic wonder. Wonder. What a delightful choice. Now, there's a topic we could talk about for a long time. And I would dearly love to, and in my life and in my sermons, I probably do. I'll try to restrain myself. What could be better than a talk about wonder? What brings us here, if not wonder? What distinguishes our human life, if not wonder? Wonder is something that can strike us at any time in our lives, and it's often associated with childhood. And why not? A child, a new human mind, getting to know her universe, getting to know his universe, our universe. This universe, so full of wonderful objects and experiences and possibilities, eyes open, hand turning to every sound, hands reaching out, tongue working. Just last weekend, I was with my granddaughter's 2nd birthday. Wonder of wonders, unfolding. Have you been to a workshop where you're asked to write down some time when you felt really connected to the universe? Such assignments seem to come up rather frequently in my life. Some of my answers are sitting at the edge of the Grand Canyon and being present when our son was born. When I look at my responses, I realize that I'm answering the question about connection to the universe with descriptions of times of experiencing great, glorious, all-engrossing, all-engaging wonder. As I may have mentioned when we were together here last year, In the way of a proud grandparent, being close when our granddaughter was born and holding her and counting her fingers and toes and watching her breathe and thinking about how she is so magnificently formed. That, as I said, got me to a place of spiritual excitement and of great joy and of wonder. Wonder is our reaction to something unexpected, but happy. Wonder has a lot to do with surprise, happy surprises. Are you getting the feeling that my enthusiasm for talking about wonder has to do with my associating with joy? There is in our human repertoire of emotions the one we call awe, which has a lot of connection with wonder, but awe usually centers around the idea of respect or fear or something that might be threatening. Awe is a word that we find used in religious scripture. We read about an awful God. We read about shepherds who see and hear angels proclaiming the good news of the birth of a child who will change the world for the better. We read the shepherds are filled with awe and that they are afraid. One brain researcher has said that as near as he can figure it, the purpose of the right side of the human brain, the one where we do all our creating and imagining, that the purpose of that half of the brain is awe. Well, maybe. But it feels more like a big chunk of my brain has to do with wonder, happy surprises, and the presence, and in the places my curiosity takes me. Another idea that seems to hover around wonder is miracle. Miracle to me has to do with something that can't be explained, where wonder implies to me that if I just think about it, if we just think about it, we can figure it out. And the thinking and the figuring and the maybe knowing all bring joy. Astonishment, also an idea that comes to mind when I think about wonder. Surprise again, got my attention. Another is admiration, admiration for the thinking and imagining and discovering that we human beings bring to this universe so full of wonder, at least to us. My college roommate, Ralph, was learning about the wave properties of light in a physics course, and he was enchanted. He was excited. He was learning how getting the light waves in phase could amplify them. He suggested that putting two mirrors exactly some multiple of the wavelength of light apart and putting some kind of a strobe between them that would flash exactly at the frequency of the light, that it would be possible to amplify and re-amplify the light going back and forth between the mirrors. If you put a small hole in one of the mirrors, you'd be able to project a beam of this high-energy light. Ralph, excited by this idea, told it to someone in his family. And he was told, "Ralph, you just invented the laser." Never mind that the laser had already been invented. Ralph was excited. He had wandered down his learning and his wondering and had found to his delight something new and wondrous. Just learning something new can be a joy. A great discovery, even if it is not new, can be a great source of joy. It can come from wonder. It can give a sense of wonder, which is probably why childhood and wonder are so linked closely. Child is constantly learning, constantly discovering the universe. Now she or he may be discovering something that we human beings have discovered often in the course of our history. How fingers work, how toes taste, how language works. In fact, rediscovering is very often the case for children and for adults. Sometimes some know-it-all will burst the happy bubble of discovery, burst the bubble of wonder with an, "Oh, everybody knows that," or "You just invented the laser." But that shouldn't, and I suspect usually doesn't, take away from the wonder of realizing something new, a new connection to the universe, a new possibility. From my casual observation of the universe and our fellow inhabitants of it, I have the feeling that wonder is probably something unique to us human beings. We know the expression, "the curiosity killed the cat," suggesting not only a situation that might be lethal for a cat, but also suggesting that a cat has curiosity. Well, cats, other animals, when they see something they have not seen before, they seem to regard it first to see if it's dangerous, and second to see if, well, it might be tasty. We human beings may have the same first two reactions to something new or unusual or surprising, but we seem to go beyond that, to ponder where it came from and look for some use in our life for it. And that is exciting. Discovering something new, discovering a new use or just new understanding, explaining our connection to the universe. We human beings see something new and maybe we're frightened, but usually, maybe immediately, maybe eventually, we get to the place of being curious and maybe feeling a sense of wonder. And that wonder can take us to studying something new. We try to find the rules that govern it or the rules that bring it about it. Why has this something new suddenly appeared here, and where has it been all this while? We human beings look for reasons for what we experience, and when we find the connections, the causes, the effects, it can give us happiness. It can give us joy. It can give us a feeling of wonder, the aha moment. I have a feeling that if my life doesn't feel as if it's full of wonder, that I'm just not paying attention. And that's one of the great joys of the arts. Artists are people who seem to be almost yelling at me, pay attention. In every picture, every sculpture, every dance, every song, every book or poem, there seems to be at least one place, one phrase, one image, one movement, one sound, one assortment of words, one gesture that seems to be another human being's pointing me at something they think I should not miss, that my life will be less for not noticing it. The artist is distilling a wonder and putting it before me and saying, pay attention. It feels as if artists, performers, the really good ones, want to share wonder with me. And I'm grateful. Okay, that's artists and Bryant. Here we are gathered in a faith community. How does the idea of wonder get treated in the holy books of the dominant religion of the culture that's around us? Curiously, in the Hebrew Bible, wonders usually refers to displays of their God's strength. The various plagues and mishaps that God aimed against the Egyptians are referred to repeatedly as wonders. And contrary to my understanding of wonders as unusual, even delightful occurrences that we're enticed to find explanations for, in Job we read that God does great things past finding out. Yes, wonders without number. Past finding out. In the Christian Testament, there's a warning with identical wording in two books that false Christs and false prophets will rise and show signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. And elsewhere, wonder seems to mean miracles, as when Jesus of Nazareth says, probably disparagingly, that unless you people see signs and wonders, you will by no means believe. In one place, when Peter heals a lame man, the crowd's wonder is paired with amazement. As Lewis Carroll's great book, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, with all the very strange characters and happenings, a queen shouting, off with her head, a Cheshire cat appearing and disappearing, croquet being played with pink flamingos for mallets, it could be a matter of fear. And yet, it's probably a matter of Lewis Carroll's skill as an author that these very bizarre people and animals who populate the story, the unusual and I hope unlikely occurrences, bring most readers well into a land of wonder. Wonderland is strange, but mostly not scary. Not scary as, say, The Wizard of Oz with all those flying monkeys. Wonderland certainly gets our attention. The ideas and images grab our interest and give us puzzles to solve and get us to a strange and new place of understanding. And while we smile at our new understanding of the new ideas that the story has brought us, and that is a true wonder. I find wonder and excitement from my spirit in Carl Sagan's Cosmos, the book and video of the public broadcasting series. I read and watch it often. I get chills every time I read stellar nuclear reactions generate the elements we know in everyday life. Elements return to the interstellar gas where they're swept up in subsequent generation of cloud collapse and star and planet formation. All the elements of the Earth, except hydrogen and helium, have been cooked in a kind of stellar alchemy billions of years ago in stars, some of which are today inconspicuous white dwarfs on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy. The nitrogen in our DNA, the calcium in our teeth, the iron in our blood, the carbon in our apple pie were made in the interiors of collapsing stars. We are made of star stuff. That Sagan quote, "We are made of star stuff," I find thrilling, affirming. It locates me in the midst of wonder, a wonder-filled universe, one that's still becoming, all of which puts me in a way that maybe I understand, sort of, positions me in time and space and beyond, and that to me is exciting and wonderful. I stand here, something like 13.7 billion years after the beginning of the universe, 4.5 billion years or so after the formation of the planet, 3.5 billion years, give or take a few, after life here began its trek toward Homo sapiens. I stand in this place, at this time, made of elements formed in the alchemy of imploding stars. And so do you, if you choose to believe those big numbers and wild ideas. It's good to be together. It's amazing to be here together. It all seems so improbable and so wonderful. We are a gathering of star stuff that can experience wonder. A year or so ago, we learned that a Nobel Prize has gone to people who have taken careful measurements of supernova explosions at the far reaches of the universe, and they calculated and tell us that the evidence shows that our universe is accelerating as it expands. Who possibly could care? And yet we do. There's no practical application in my life or the lives of those Nobel Prize winners for knowledge of an accelerating, expanding universe of the black energy that maybe makes it happen. And yet it is exciting. We wonder. We want to know. And so actually we do care. The artists, the scientists, the events of our lives, the world around us, they can delight us, they can astound us, they can fill us with wonder. We wonder, we ponder, we discover, and we smile. And what am I missing, I wonder? What wonder would you point out to us so we don't miss it? Read our Unitarian Universalist principles. This faith of ours encourages us to have a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. It challenges us to look squarely at wonder, to question and to seek and to be amazed at what we find and what we share. So be it, and amen.